Yeah, and helping people transition while they're still in, or before making that next one. I know that I've always given the advice to get your degree out of the way before you retire or before you transition out, because if they're still doing the tuition assistance and all that stuff, to have your degree taken care of, um, that just takes a lot of pressure off of folks when they're job hunting to be able to get hired at a better level of pay. And it helps the human resources folks, hire to provide a better offer uh, when you have that degree. They can check that box. When I applied at the lab, they asked if I had a degree. I said I did. They didn't even ask what it was in. They didn't even ask who I got it from. They just wanted to make sure I had a degree, so that they were able to hire me sort of at the manager or engineering level, right, as opposed to the the next one down. It just made it easier for them to give me a good offer. So that's one bit of advice. The other advice is to get pay attention to the transition assistance program. I found that very helpful when I was in, because it starts getting you to think in a civilian frame of reference, and working on figuring out the how to transition or how to translate your skills to the civilian world. And there are so many folks that that think that their military training doesn't translate to the civilian world, but that they're doing themselves a huge disservice. So this is something that a lot of folks don't understand, especially if you've been in, 10 years or so, and you have been to the different schools, professional military education, and every service has them, right? But, we all have had leadership training. And depending on where you're at in your career, a shit ton of it. So not a lot of folks understand Maslow's hierarchy of need, but most military folks do, right? And it's something that most of the civilian populace, unless they took courses specifically for that kind of crap in their degree program, they don't understand. They don't understand team building. They don't understand the change process, things that we've all learned about. So whether you were a grunt or a bomb tech or a cryptologist or whatever, we've all been through that PME stuff, and it's getting folks to understand that it does translate into that transition, and that next identity is looking back to that skill that you received. And getting organizations to realize that there's some real benefit to hiring someone who's had all that training. And it's funny, our government processes, while I say that the transition assistance program is great, and you should pay attention for it, it's run by, I think, the Department of Labor. Well, when I was transitioning, they have an an MOS translator. Have any of you guys used that MOS translator? Right. So I went into that 13 years ago and entered 3E891 or whatever our AFSC was, and 464 didn't work. By the way, I tried. It didn't. But anyway,
that's old school, man. I still remember that.
That's right. No school like the old school. Indian head, baby. Oh yeah. Anyway, I entered my FSC now the 9 level, right? So now I'm a superintendent, right? And so that means I've been through all of that leadership training. So I enter that into the AFSC or the MOS translator, and it comes back with the jobs I'm best suited for are security guard, custodian. And I don't know, you can ask Denise, I'd make a shitty custodian, right? And security guard, well, maybe, you know, but I'd be pretty shitty at that too, because I'd quit giving a shit after a while. It just, you know, you wanna take crap out of TJ Maxx? Whatever, you know. But no, I'm like, oh my God, our own Department of Labor doesn't understand maybe it was because it was an AFSC, not an MOS, and they hadn't quite gotten the Army and Air Force thing separated, but I don't know. Anyway, a few years later, I'm at a conference for Veterans in Energy, a great organization that goes out and it wants to help energy companies, so electricity, oil and gas, all those, recruit and retain veterans, and because they understand the value of that. Anyway, at the first symposium they had about 5 or 6 years ago in Washington, D.C., the Deputy Secretary, Department of Labor, was there giving a briefing about, you know, the different program, like the Transition Assistance Program and some of the other stuff. And they had gave the talk, and then afterwards I found the guy and went and told him that they really needed to look at their MOS translator program that they had. And I told him, you know, what I found, and he kind of was shocked that you know, a superintendent or a 20 some odd year veteran, E8, would that was the recommendation that it was making. He also looked frightened. I don't know why. When I came, maybe I just approached him a little too aggressively, or I don't recall sidearming anybody or pushing anybody out of the way, but I do recall him sort of having the big sort of eyes is looking up at me. But anyway, I haven't been back on that side. I don't know if it's changed any, but it certainly was frustrating when I was transitioning.